Welcome back, my friends. I have the perfect tutorial for those of you who are still fairly new to crochet but have mastered the basic stitches and want to try a pattern that's a bit more challenging than the typical beginner-friendly rectangular patterns. If you're in the situation I just described, this simple crochet beanie is the perfect challenge for you. In this video, I'll walk you through crocheting your beanie following my easy crochet beanie pattern, which includes creating the brim, crocheting the body of the hat in the round, and then I'll teach you how to decrease stitches when shaping the crown at the top of the hat. I'm sure you're excited to get started, so I'll stop talking right now and get right into it. If you're crocheting along with me, you'll need some worsted weight yarn. I used Hobby Fluffy Day in pastel pink. You'll also need a size G or 4mm crochet hook. The first step is to crochet the brim, which is worked flat. We'll begin by making a foundation chain of 13 stitches. To keep this tutorial from getting too long, I'm assuming that you already know the basics of crochet, which include how to make a foundation chain, as well as how to work a slip stitch and a single and double crochet stitch. Okay, we're now ready to begin the first row of the brim, which is worked flat. Single crochet into the bottom of each chain, starting with the second chain from the hook. I like to crochet into the bottom of the chain stitches because it keeps the edges looking neat while making it easy to work into later when we join the ends of the brim. Once you reach the end of the row, chain 1 and turn your work. For row 2 and the remaining rows of the brim, we're going to single crochet in only the back loop of each single crochet stitch. When you're looking down at a crochet stitch, you'll see that the top of the stitch kind of looks like a V. And when we're working into the back loop, that just means that we're working into the part of the V that is furthest away from us. And if you're wondering why I'm telling you to crochet only into the back loop of each stitch, it's because by doing so you create a rib-like stretchy fabric, which is perfect for the brim of a beanie, or toque as we say in Canada. And then once we reach the end of the row, we chain 1 and turn. I'll continue single crocheting into the back loops of each stitch off camera, and then I'll meet you back here to show you how to join the ends together. Okay, so now that the last row of the brim has been worked, we can fold it in half and join the ends together. To join the ends, line up the stitches from your foundation chain with the stitches of the last row, and then slip stitch them together. It can be a bit tricky getting your hook through the stitches if you made your foundation chain a little bit too tight like I did, so I should have mentioned that earlier on, but if you haven't started yet and you're making your foundation chain, just make sure to work it a little bit looser than you normally would. That's it for the brim. Flip the seam to the inside, and now we're ready to begin working in the round. For the first round, which is the setup round, make 1 chain, and then single crochet 80 stitches around the brim as evenly as you can. So there's no exact science as to where to place the stitches, so just do your best. I suggest stopping once you've finished 20 stitches and then checking to see if you're about a quarter of the way through. And then again once you have 40 stitches to see if you're halfway through, and so on, just to keep them as evenly spaced as possible. Once you reach the end of the round and you have 80 stitches, join your last stitch to the first stitch with a slip stitch. So that's how we join rounds when working in the round. And now we're ready to begin our second round, which is a round of double crochet stitches. So to begin our round of double crochet stitches, we chain 2 and then we work a double crochet into each single crochet all the way around. And this includes the first stitch that we just joined to. I'll finish this round of double crochets off camera and then I'll show you how to start your next round. Okay, so now we're at the end of our round of double crochets and we're ready to join our last stitch with our first stitch. So we'll join with a slip stitch just like we did for our round of single crochets, but this time we're joining double crochets with the slip stitch. So we find our first double crochet stitch and we insert our hook into it and then we join. Round 3 is a round of single crochet stitches. So chain 1 and then work 1 single crochet into the same stitch that we just joined to, and then single crochet all the way around. And that's all you need to know to work the remainder of the body of the hat. Continue alternating rounds of single and double crochet for rounds 4 through 8, and then meet me back to begin shaping the crown. Now that we've completed the last round of double crochet stitches of the body of the hat, we can begin shaping the crown. To shape the crown, we continue working by alternating our double crochet and single crochet rounds, but we reduce the stitch count by 10 stitches each round. Luckily, there's a formula for calculating where to place our decreased stitches when decreasing in the round. We want to take the total number of stitches and divide it by the number of stitches that we want to decrease by. In this case, we have 80 stitches and we want to decrease each round by 10 stitches. So we take 80 and divide it by 10 and the number we get is 8. So what this means is that every time we reach stitches 7 and 8, we want to turn them into 1 stitch. And the way that we'll do this is by either single crocheting or double crocheting the stitches together, depending on what round we're working. Since our first round of decreasing is a round of single crochet, we're going to single crochet stitches 7 and 8 together. So I'll show you how this is done. So the first step is to insert your hook into the 7th stitch and then pull up a loop. Insert your hook into the 8th stitch and then pull up a loop again. Now that we have 3 stitches remaining on the hook, we want to pull the yarn through all 3 of the remaining stitches, and that's how we single crochet 2 stitches together. So I'll continue working in the round, single crocheting every 7th and 8th stitch together, and then I'll meet you back here to show you how to work your next round. For round 2, we're going to apply our formula for decreasing evenly in the round again. This time we have 70 stitches remaining. So we're going to take 70 and divide it by 10, and that means that we have to decrease every 7th stitch. So we will double crochet stitches 6 and 7 together all the way around. Now that we've double crocheted in the first 5 stitches, we're ready to double crochet stitches 6 and 7 together. The first step is to yarn over your hook and insert the hook into the next stitch and pull up a loop. Then yarn over again and pull through 2 of the loops on the hook. Repeat these steps for the next stitch. So yarn over and insert the hook into the next stitch and pull up a loop. And then yarn over and pull through 2 loops. There should now be 3 loops remaining on your hook. The final step is to yarn over one more time and pull through all 3 remaining stitches on the hook. And that is how to double crochet 2 stitches together. Continue decreasing every 7th stitch by double crocheting stitches 6 and 7 together for the remainder of this round. For the remainder of the shaping of the crown of this hat, we're going to continue with the same formula until we have 10 stitches left. So I'm going to leave you to it, and then I'll show you how to finish off your hat. Now that we've finished our decreasing rounds, we're ready to finish off our hat. Take a pair of scissors and cut your yarn, leaving a long tail, and then thread it through the remaining stitch and pull tight. For this step, you'll need a tapestry or yarn needle that has a loop that's big enough to pull the yarn through. You could also use your hook to thread the yarn through the rest of the stitches at the top of the hat, but I prefer to use a needle. I find it much faster. So what we need to do is weave the yarn through the top of each of the stitches at the top of the hat, and then pull it tight like a drawstring once we've reached the end, and this will close the top of the hat. So once we've closed the top of the hat, all we need to do is flip the hat inside out, bring the yarn to the inside, and then secure it with a knot and weave in all loose ends. And that's it. You've now finished your easy crochet beanie. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please leave a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel for more crochet content. I'd also love to hear what you think of this video, so please leave a comment below. And don't forget that you can find the full pattern for this beanie on my website, www.lilyknits.com. I've linked to it in the description below as well.